Warning, everything in this video and on this channel is for educational purposes only. All content is intended for viewers 21 years of age or older. All acts are performed by professionals, and all people shown are 21 years of age or older. All acts are performed under the legal Chapter 67(8)(d) here in Nevada. Please do not attempt to recreate or reenact anything you see on this channel.
From Pigeons 420, Mr. Grow It. From the stack.
Unlock the potential of your grow space with the AC Infinity Controller 6.9 Pro or the Controller 6.9 Pro Plus, your ultimate partner in precision environmental management. This state-of-the-art controller allows you to manage up to 4 devices, or 8 if you have the 6.9 Pro Plus, independently, adjusting for temperature, humidity, and VPD with dynamic precision. Experience seamless integration and control from anywhere using the AC Infinity app thanks to its advanced Wi-Fi and Bluetooth features. Elevate your growing conditions to perfection with the customizable schedules and the real-time monitoring. The Controller 6.9 Pro, where technology meets cultivation. Explore more at acinfinity.com or find it on Amazon, and use discount code THESTASH15 at checkout.
Are you a grower? Are you tired of lugging around too many bottles? Is it too expensive? Is it so confusing? Tired of reading feed charts? Well, guess what? There is an easier way. Introducing the Stash Blend. You can now get your bag of Stash Blend premium additives that you can add to your garden using just about any base nutrients. Go to stashblend.com and get your order today.
My boys.
Back at it again. We're
Here
back.
we are.
In Canada again
Killing
for
it.
another one.
Killing it.
My guys.
Canada.
Bring it, touch it.
Boys, it feels absolutely delightful to be here sitting with you gentlemen, have a conversation about something we love and enjoy. Feels pretty blessed, pretty honored to be able to sit and talk about Herb all the time.
Dude,
And just
it's
sit in
amazing.
good company.
Our
Feels good.
biggest stress is to not be able to do this all the time. I feel like, honestly, dude, it's great to be able to just chill and kick it and be in a place that we could actually consume a little bit. We don't got to go outside
Feels
for
good.
an episode. That's definitely a big change for me. You know, it's stuff that I feel overall has made our trips better and more efficient because we're able to operate more efficiently as humans. We've learned our next trip to operate a little better. Our grocery list initially was a joke. We said meat. We realized that the majority of what was spent was because we said stuff to grill. Bagels. We get bagels.
Get
Yep.
some milk
We
and
need some milk.
cereal.
We
We
need some
can
milk.
survive off that in the
Yeah.
morning.
Oh, you remember?
And then we had an
I remember.
interruption.
Yeah, you remember? Yes.
And then that was it. So
And
I'm
that's
sure
exactly
it was
what we have. And then
And that lasted us.
and we didn't even get the meat.
No, we didn't even get the meat for the sandwich.
Because
So.
or the steaks or nothing, because Mrs. P looked at the price of the steaks and was like, it's almost $60 for
Oh, that's
three
why
of
we ended
them.
up going out. That's right.
And then, well, we were going out anyway, and then I just said, no, we've got a box of steaks, because being in the middle of nowhere, we know farmers that have cattle, and we can get a full or half section of meat from them for a far less amount. And so, yeah, we were like, no, if we're gonna be eating meat, these boys will be eating my meat.
Oh shit, we're gonna have homemade meat, brother.
Yeah, and the beef here is fantastic beef, great beef. So, yeah, no, we definitely didn't give her the most detailed list of items to purchase. That's for sure.
We've learned this now.
We did try, but then I remember us planning. God, so many moons ago,
so many years ago now.
planning for this, and we essentially had so many things going on at the same time when we were trying to come up with this grocery list. I'm pretty sure we were talking about 2 or 3 different things,
Other trips we had planned.
and the grocery
content we
list
were
was
doing,
like
guests
in
we had
there.
on the show, and ideas of content. Yes.
Yeah. Next time we got to think, okay, day one,
Day one.
right?
Back in
Right? Because we're just like, okay, meat, bagels, cream cheese. Okay,
We
but what
spent
about
more time ordering the bud that we got for the trip than we did for ordering food?
what about day two?
Yeah. It goes that way sometimes, man. I feel like that's where you learn over time how to optimize everything. You get better. Our trips are getting better. You can't deny it. We find these ways to kind of like hack the system.
Need
and
a
make
travel hack.
Well, we have been.
We met some
We've
life
learned.
hacks.
Well, we've
Mhm.
learned coming here, coming to Canada and then coming to Michigan. These are 2 easy setup, take down local, not busy, not distracting areas. And then we always do our annual Vegas trip because we go to MJ BizCon. Maybe we'll have some in between, go out, hang out with the homie Swank, get some stuff going for the genetics and all. But we found the hack. We found the system, and this has changed the game for us. The amount of progress and just great content that's come out of it is literally record breaking for us on an individual level and as a group level. I've never made this much content with the same people.
Oh, it's been a long
I like you
time
guys
running.
still too.
I still like you guys. It's been a long time running. You're gonna say something?
Good, because
Perfect.
these are hacks that make
baby.
it better for us, and this is what leads us into this episode, in my opinion, is
Grow
hacks,
hacks, man.
Grow hacks, gardening hacks.
And that would be, and some people would say we're the grow hacks.
Depends on your definition, right? That guy's a hack.
Play on
You know?
words.
Oh,
That was
hack.
And you know what? To play on your words to be played on, you know what? We, in a way, with the amount of information that you can find on the internet this day,
It's a hack.
it's a hack to dive right into growing
Hacksaw
using the videos and tools that are at your disposal. You can speed up, and we've seen it. Even look at members of our online. If you look at even within our creator community, there are a number of creators that have only been growing for a couple of years who have not only showed how to capture it, but they're growing some pretty good plants. So I would start this off with hack number 1 is tuning into
From the stash.
CLtv and Mr. Grow It to make sure that
And
you
Pigeons
are
420.
getting.
Good.
Yep, I'll
So
take you for
have
a tour though.
simplified the thing is, it's like I've been saying for years. You have like the workings man, like blue collar grow style. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I'm busy. I don't have time. I got to get her done. Here's how you do it. I need my results. I want to smoke. I need some dank.
Yep.
It's not like, all right, we've got 3,000 hours of time to mix and master our organic soil. Now we're going to be in the room hanging out like these 40-minute seed to harvest videos that seem like,
Which is
where'd you go
needed.
to work, dude?
Yeah,
But it's, we're content creators, so we'll have time to do it. But it's like, no, it's totally different styles. And I think that is a great point. That's a
Good
great
hack.
way to start it. It's a good hack. Find the person that can guide you through, like a mentor, someone that you could imitate the success of, and don't reinvent the wheel. Tony Robbins talks about that in business. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find someone else who's successful and imitate what they're doing for your own style. You don't got to copy it. You just get inspiration to go that same route. So, great one.
That's one type of hack. I think when I hear gardening hacks, I think some people are also thinking about another definition of hack would be to use something intended for something else. Okay, and I'll give an example of that as hack number 2 of this video is using a trash barrel in the grow. A lot of people actually use a trash barrel as a reservoir.
That word stuff. I have always said res.
Yeah,
Until you
avoid
run
the
any
tongue
of your
twister.
native friends. And many of my Native American buddies have literally been like, the res?
The res.
Reservoir.
Reservoir.
War.
Reservoir.
Okay.
Put a little spin on it.
You got to be a little fancy.
Gotta be French. It's a
French,
French
there we
word.
go.
Reservoir.
Reservoir.
Okay.
Reservoir.
But
So
using
with
a trash barrel, right? So like a lot of us do that, and it's not intended to be used as a reservoir. It's intended to put trash in.
Yeah.
And I've got one 14-gallon reservoir that I use, trash barrel, as kind of my main reservoir for my 4-foot by 8-foot tent. And 14 gallons is enough to hold, to supply those plants that are in there. I have another reservoir as well, which is a 5-gallon bucket. That could be used as a reservoir. I guess another hack, using that
100,000%.
as a reservoir. Those larger trash bins, what is it, 64-gallon
I have
reservoir?
a 30-gallon one, but I'm sure there's a bigger
32,
one.
yeah. Anyways, those larger ones are very, very common to be used as a reservoir. And so I thought that was a great one again, the definition of an item that's intended for something else to actually use within the garden. I think that list is just as long, if not longer, than the list of you guys, your gardening hack that you mentioned, that type of hack.
Yep.
I think that's where it goes both ways. Is in my opinion, my bro scientific educational explanation, essentially a hack is using an alternative method to get a similar, if not better, result. This could be an item. This could be a style of gardening. This could be technique you're doing. I feel like that's where just helpful ways to find other alternatives through this gardening journey without having to maybe buy the piece of equipment or follow a certain practice that has to be super rigid and can't be off the path.
That's perfect. And I consider a hack anytime and you can hack the system to your advantage to make it work for you.
I like that. Or you can hack your finger if you're,
right
trimming.
off. You can
You gotta
hack
be
it
careful.
off.
Gotta be careful.
Make
Gotta
it
be very
disappear
careful.
entirely. Any
So-
experience in that, Mr. Growit? Just
We-
kidding.
Well, we worked together a list, and we sat here because we've had some we've talked about before of different things that are alternatives. Let's say for like natural alternatives, it's a great one. But there's some things that I feel in this video we can condense down, and by the end of this, maybe we'll have 15, maybe we'll have 18. Maybe we'll see. We'll count them as we go.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
count them as we go.
So we'll keep going and kind of
What's
going
the
with the
next one you got
5-gallon
on the list?
That was
bucket.
2.
Kind of going with the 5-gallon bucket that I mentioned that you can use as a reservoir. You can also use it as a grow pot. A lot of people use them as grow pots, or using them as buckets for a DWC setup. So yeah, a couple other ways that you can utilize those 5-gallon buckets in the garden.
Dude, I've multiple times used that. You can use them also to make a bubble conic cloner. Just cut holes in the top of there and then get the little nets and good to go. Same thing, or the little what are the collars? Same type of situation, but you're utilizing something that you can get for a very, very low price from Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, whatever your places that you find your 5-gallon buckets from, and it's reusing a thing. You can also use those. I've seen people in the past use those for collecting rain, just like anything. It's your reservoir. You can put them up higher and they can hang from something because you actually have, usually buckets have the handles on them. But it goes the same way with like laundry bins. I had a big 18-gallon tote that was just like the little handles on it, but there wasn't a top. So I used that for my 18-gallon massive organic container, my first organic run, and it was $8. So it was pretty affordable, and I could reuse it over and over and over again. Just drill some holes in it, be done.
Nice.
Yeah, talking about containers, I mean, you can use so many different things, and
So
people
many.
use, peanut butter tubs of peanut butter. People use anything that's really like a plasticky type tub. Ice cream tubs of ice cream,
the big one. Oh yeah,
gallons. People use that for containers.
Shout out to my late mother-in-law. Bless her soul. She put together old jeans. She sewed pots out of old jeans.
dude.
And
I was just saying
it was
about that. We
great.
used the baby diapers, just joking, and you guys are like, "Oh, dirty ones." I was serious.
Oh, and it's a good thing.
You might be able to just because of breathability. You know what I'm saying? It would be an interesting way, like the air prune, using clothing fabric like that. That's interesting.
Seemed to work for me. Yep, worked for me.
Alternative methods, man.
Also, egg carton. Use those for seedlings. Put a little soil in there in the egg carton. Cut them open. You can dip those directly into the soil. Plant those directly into soil. I've seen people use toilet paper rolls. Same situation to where they're using that as a container, putting some soil into it, kind of folding it up, right? So it's enclosed.
Oh, okay.
And then they had the little seedling in there, and then you plant that into soil that breaks down, and obviously roots grow through that. And yeah, that's what they use to start.
That is super slick. I mean, you could reuse your Tim Horton cups. We've gone there enough times. You could have probably done a whole 12 plant crop.
Tim Hortons cups.
You know? It's the reusing of the items that's pretty cool to me because you don't need to, like, if you just think, I'm going to start growing after this summer season. I'm growing outside right now. I'm going to grow inside after this. Start saving your cups, man, your containers. You know, that's an interesting thought. I never thought about it.
Next up on the list for referencing this, I think, Rob, you had mentioned this one when we were creating the list. Yo-yos to hold up buds and flowering. And you clarified you're not talking about the brand and the product.
Just actual cheap
yo-yo
China
or
yo-yos.
gardening. Talking about an actual yo-yo.
The ones that kids used to do, like the cool to walk the dog.
Got 'em.
Like I used to have one that lit up and stuff. Those ones you don't need. Those are dope.
I've
The
done that
cheap
before.
ones you get at like a Yiddish camp or shul. I don't know. Most people don't know what that is. But, Bible school.
Yo, almost at like any Dollar General.
Yep.
Cheap yo-yos. You can use those, and they're really easy to just take that string and then throw it over top of your light on an area that's not going to be getting directly onto the bars or the light itself. Something that's hanging potentially, and it'll help hold your buds up. That's a way to do it. Back in the day, before I used a trellis, that was what I'd do if the buds were big. I'm like, all right, you throw it over like a lasso. I'm like, all right. Throw it around the room. It didn't work, man. It really boils down to the size of your buds if you need to do them, but it works.
Yeah. I've seen so many people do it, but there is a product called Yo-Yo, and that's where it kind of threw me off a little because I'm like, wait a minute, you're talking about the product? Like, no, actual Yo-Yo. The product named Yo-Yo for the same purpose of hanging it up top of the grow tent, for example, and then holding up the buds.
That's like a company who makes
With a
like
string.
a water bottle brand called Water Bottle, and you never can call your water bottle water. They're like, we're going to be the category. We'll be the category now. Yo-Yo. It's like, well, what is that? It's a yo-yo. Oh, yeah, the brand. Like, oh, it's no longer a category anymore. It's a company. It's like Kleenex or ketchup. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got us. Yo-Yo got us. You can just buy cheap ones.
Do you guys have coat hangers?
Oh yeah, no
Do you
more
have-
wire.
Do you have
hangers,
those
though.
old metal coat
wire
hangers?
hang? Yeah, you ever seen
Do you have
Mommy
an
Dearest?
I'm just at. Do you have an abundance of them?
Used to, not anymore.
No
okay,
more
you
wire
did.
hangers.
Okay, so did I. You can also break those up, and they work really good for tying down plants. You can kind of cut them, fold them in half, use them as like a tent peg,
Yeah, I've seen.
and it pulls down. Use it as a candy cane. Kind of grabs the branch, stick it into the dirt. Works really well to help keep down the stems and the shoots, and works really really well.
That could be your mainlining tool. I see people using that
100%.
for mainlining the little metal
100%.
hook pieces there. That's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. Use some pliers, needle nose, get them in there. Ching.
And the thing is there's so many around, and I know I don't have an abundance of them anymore. But up until about 2 years ago, I probably had 100 scattered amongst the house between it.
Now
And
you're
then
a
we've
baller though. You start getting plastic.
started to get plastic. Well, you got to have an impact.
Come up.
You can't be a Taylor Swift until you start to have a massive impact on the environment.
Well, you
around
don't
you,
want to
so-
have the weird creases in here.
No, that's right. It's got to be plastic.
You know what I'm saying? Look like you've been traveling.
I'm sure there's
and you
something
pack
that's
shirts
more.
in a
Someone's gonna be like,
suitcase
"Why
or
aren't you using
something
hemp? Why aren't you using hemp clothes hangers?"
You know how much
There are
hemp
these
costs?
real thin ones. I used to use the plastic one, and then Samantha put me on. Samantha's my fiance. She put me on the real thin ones. I don't even know what it's like, what material it is, but it's like oh gosh, I wish I knew what
Like
material it was.
wood?
What?
Like a woody
Like a
type of-
clothy type material, and
Oh,
then but it
shit.
like sliding the shirt on and off is not as easy as it is with the plastic. So I complained heavily. But she's like, "Oh, but it's thinner and you can fit more shirts in there, so that's why these are better." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's taking me twice as long to put a
get
shirt
them
on
on
it,
and off.
you know."
Oh man, hopefully she doesn't watch this. She
So
can
we
get fucked with wire
battled
hangers
about
after
that, and
this.
of course she won that battle.
Oh,
We-
closet space,
Yep.
brother. You're going into enemy territory
Good
immediately. Like, hang on, let me talk to you about your closet space that you're trying to save. You're like, she's like, mansplain what?
As she walks into the garage and like, look how you're hanging these
I
tools.
just don't know. Those your plants look like they could be closer together. Why
Those
don't you
plants?
get, you
Those
know what?
plants can be way.
Get
Excuse
bigger
me, honey.
pots.
Honey, are you feeding those
They're easier
enough?
to transplant.
So I did not win that argument. Clearly.
That's fair.
And it was
That's
probably
fair.
for the better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, to not win that.
Yes.
That's why he's actually staying here right now. We had to come out here because he's been on the couch for weeks over this. No.
But when it comes to plant training, that was a great use for plant training. There's other things you can use for plant training. And one of the ones that, I can think off the top of my head, and I know Rob named off the
Pipe cleaners.
pipe cleaners.
Yeah, if you have kids, millions of pipe cleaners. And then
Mhm.
the kids grow up. My oldest thinks pipe cleaners are stupid now. He used to like them to just put random colors around his action figures. My youngest is starting to get hip to it. He thinks they're a little cool. We got Dragon Ball Z action figures. I'm trying to tell him Goku can, do all these cool things, but instead I'm just using them for plant training pieces. So I've been taking them in there for bud instead. Kids don't really need them that much. You can't go too tight in it because there's a wire, but they're nice to be able to just use to pull down or to help hold up a broken branch. Use a little pinch of duct tape on there, wrap that around like a little crutch. There's plant twist ties that work decent. Shout out Bud Trainer. Their big bright yellow ones are nice and like malleable. They work good. But in a quick pinch, those little pipe cleaners, and you can make it all look all colorful if you want to get like festive for 4th of July. Blue, white, red, boom. You know what I'm saying? It's Arriba. It's Noche. You know what I'm saying? Mexican Independence Day. We're getting green. We're getting white. We're getting red. So you can
Sky's the limit.
I'm just saying you get decorative with it, but it holds your branches together if you're doing some training and maybe something slips up and breaks. It's like a crutch.
Pipe cleaners. Some
Pipe
people use
cleaner.
bread ties.
Red
Use
ties,
bread
yeah.
ties. I use binder clips to clip to the actual side of the grill pot, and then use the ties to bring down.
Pull it down. Yeah, I do the
pull
same
it down,
thing because
use
you can
that.
pull it down where you want it to be, and you're like, oh,
Click in,
extend it.
yeah, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That shit. Yep,
yeah.
yep,
I've also
yep.
used like clothespins as up onto the side of the grill pot to hold on to that fabric piece, for example, and then bring down that tie. Not ideal, right? But it's like, again,
I'm thinking
we're talking
safety pins. Clothespins are the wood
actual
things.
clothespins. Yeah,
Those
it
are
looks
cool.
ugly.
I like
It looks
those, but
ugly
no,
and
I've
stuff,
used
and you gotta
those.
do what you gotta do. I mean, I've used them in the past.
Twist
Twist,
ti-
Just trying to
twist
find
ties
things around
work
the
too.
house.
This guy used to have wire hangers. So
Twist ties.
Twist
yeah.
ties work well too because typically most holes or most pots you can like poke it through, kind of hook it on the edge. Yeah,
well, the
twist
AC
ties.
Infinity ones all got the nice little loop spots. now.
grommets.
Yep, grommets. Thank you, go. And that's what I often will do too, is because I don't want to tie it and rip my plant. It works.
I had to look it up. It's velvet clothes hangers. Non-slip velvet hangers. That's apparently
Because it's non-slip.
Maybe
That's
that's
why
a
it's so
we
hard to
call
have
that a
a
life hack.
life
because,
hack. Yeah,
because it saves space on your.
yeah.
Question is,
So apologize to her now.
have you ever slipped?
Has it ever
Does it
slipped
slip?
off?
No, have you ever slipped?
Have I ever slipped? Yeah.
All right.
What do you mean?
I mean, putting in your shirt on the hanger.
Me physically slip
Yes.
on the ground?
Yeah. If they're slip
No,
proof,
no.
I would expect full traction to the ground at all times.
Look a minute. It was going over here, and I'm like,
Yeah, I was like, what is
I got
I'll
it.
be back in the corner.
Yeah. He's like, I had my time. Good.
that's funny.
Sweet.
What's our
What
next
else, what's the next one we got? What's the next one?
Okay, let me pull up the
I
list.
gotta
Some
go.
of
I
our
got a
Ghostwriter.
And the magnets. You want to talk about magnets?
Oh, magnets. Oh, man. So the Hurricane fans, back before they had oscillating fans by AC Infinity to go in the tent there properly, I got a 4x8 grow tent. So I wanted to use my Hurricane fan. Turned out being too powerful. That thing's a beast. But and I didn't want to put a hole in my tent. Drove me nuts. So what I ended up doing is getting a magnet that I ended up mounting onto the tent or onto the wall itself. So then the metal piece on the back that you use to hook the actual Hurricane fan, it's like a metal clip on the actual back of the fan, able to stick to the thing, and it was a strong magnet, so it stood on there. Problem was that fan was way too powerful, but you can utilize that for other areas to get within your tent if you have something on the outside of the wall, or using two strong magnets that will hold itself up. So if you're using that for your trellis net, potentially, you don't want to wrap it around there, you can use easily just little hooks with magnets.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I know
Brilliant.
some people say magnets help your plants, your roots grow, and they have some grounding effects in some sort of way, but I am not hip to that magic.
That's fair. I can understand that. One of my favorite ones, and if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about this because I think it's genius.
Which one? What number would this be?
This is 13.
We already lost it. I got
I already
lit.
lost it.
What are you talking
We
about?
were keeping count.
Counterback.
Counterback chat. Put it in the chat. as we
Alfred,
do.
come back.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
sorry. Brenda,
Brenda,
come back.
are you
She was
counting?
counting,
She's
but-
counting like a baseball player.
I
You're
let
like
her
the
go
one?
because of the sound,
Two?
the violin.
Clicker, yeah.
The clicker thing. You know what is that for? An umpire?
This is the one. This is the one that I talk about all the time because I think it's genius, particularly with the price point of some of the products it counters or it alleviates. Is shout out to NV Closet Med Grower. I know you guys have heard me talk about this.
your
yeah.
AC.
He is a. I know Chris. Actually, he's a much closer friend to you than he. I don't know him personally.
Yeah, I've hung out with him a few times and smoked with him, and yeah, he's
He's your bestie now.
cool,
eh?
dude.
Too
Well,
cool. Too cool. No, I think that's awesome, man. He's one of the people that I used to watch, whenever I'd be searching for information in regards to almost anything, because he's showed to the OGs, those that came before us. He was one of the ones that had a video about it, and he was trying to cover everything and educate as many people as possible. And he showed a video of an ice cooler. It was like a Coleman or an Igloo long before Yeti existed. And he had filled it with ice and had taken a ducting with a fan blowing into his tent. So it was ducting, cooler, ducting, going into his tent. And this was to reduce the temperature and increase moisture. I think it was more so to, bless you, I think it was more so to control temperature, but I think moisture was a byproduct. And he was able to, and doesn't sound like a lot, but he was able to decrease the temperature by 2 degrees.
And 2 degrees could be that little bit, that difference that you're at 87 and bringing it down.
To 85,
A little
80,
more,
think about 91
Yeah.
to 89. 89 to 87. Like, these are really comfortable numbers as we start to go down by 2, right? So, 2 degrees, and then maybe you are already trying to prop open your tent or you've dimmed down your light. I just want to give a shout out to Closet MV Medical Grower because he's the one that showed me that, and I just thought that was really genius. Yeah, one might argue that you're changing out the ice often. However, if you have a humidifier in your tent, you're cleaning that out quite often as well, too. So, or
For sure.
refilling. I'm sorry.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
That's definitely one that can be utilized. That'd be like your little tent hack in general.
Jesse,
Yeah.
can you remove that I said it was NV Closet Med Grower and just give me full credit?
Thank you.
Next.
Oh my god. Next up on the list is actually shout out to Wink. He threw this one out here for us. Wink is the man behind the scenes who
if you don't know, you should.
making sure the audio and video is really dialed in, dude. So big shout out to him. Thank you so much, Wink.
Yep.
And he's helping us with throwing out some gardening hacks. Plates instead of saucers, right? So instead of using saucer or tray underneath your grow pot, just grab a dish plate, right?
Yeah.
Use that.
You got a
In
small
smaller
enough pot,
containers.
yeah.
You can totally get away with just doing that.
100%, especially the way that some of them have a little bit of a dip underneath there. It'll stay propped around the circular ring on the outside, and then you get enough space for a little bit of drainage there yet, too. So it won't sit when I have it a little elevated.
Yeah, maybe even if it's small enough, one of those plates that are for teacups has a, you know what I mean?
Teacup short and style. Yeah, I like that.
Keep the container, circle container right in the middle there, and then, just drips down.
And who doesn't want to eat off the floor?
Yeah, well, some people do. People do.
I also, that's a good one, Wink. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Snaps in chat for Wink.
Snaps in chat. I like to, most of your grow lights and mainly your grow lights and such come with carabiner hooks, like those ratchet strap hooks.
Oh, yeah.
I like to use those ratchet strap hooks for everything.
Yeah, those are useful.
Yep. I like to use them for not only are they holding up the light in my tent,
which is what they're intended for.
What they're intended for. But I also like to use them to completely hold up my AC Infinity unit, my inline fan. Sorry for not shilling out.
Oh yeah.
So my inline fan up there is entirely strung up with the ratchet straps. The ducting is held up there. The buffer is up there. Turn. Everything is strapped in, and you can use those ratchet straps for anything.
Dude, I used to hang an oscillating fan before. Again, there was oscillating fans with those. And had it hanging, and it was just kind of gliding and sliding.
Yep, and you could move it up if you needed to with the canopy, or move it down if you had to get a little more intense.
Those are the bungee cords of grow tents.
Yeah, use those for everything.
Grow spaces in general. Those are absolutely the bungee cords of grow spaces.
Yes.
They're super useful. There's a lot of different things you can utilize them for, even hanging and drying your plants. That's your string that you're hanging it from. You could wrap it across itself like a belt almost and hang it from the ceiling. And you could put multiple branches off of there.
I would use it for my sensor push monitor. Temperature monitor.
Yeah.
Use those to hang down, you know what I mean? The string, make it long enough so it just hangs down right in the middle of the canopy.
Oh, yeah. That, got extra cord, too. Good idea. Oh, yeah.
Smart.
It's a great hack. Everybody usually has extras of those, too.
Yeah.
I always somehow have like 2 extra.
Next one up, we've got companion planting as a hack.
Yes. This is one if you're already going to be growing basil, or some say basil.
Basil, tomatoes, pecans, pecans.
Pecans.
What other ones?
Rubbish.
Bagels. But you say bagels?
Garbage,
bagels?
rubbish.
Cocoa coir.
Cocoa coir.
Bagels, beagles.
Trichome, trichrome.
It's a great one because if you're already going to be growing things, marigold, something else, and you're a plant grower, you can put this in your garden. You have mint potentially as well. These are things that could deter pests, and you're able to harvest this stuff, but you're also able to have the actual benefit from keeping a companion plant. So it's 2 birds getting stoned at the same time situation,
Yeah, you're is exactly what a hack is, right? It's intended for marigolds are tended to be a flowering plant, and a lot of people use them just for aesthetic purposes, right? But they're helping because they're deterring those pests. That's a great example.
Sure.
To kind of add on to that, naked gardening. Nudity is intended for the streets, but instead we use it for an IPM to avoid bringing any bugs in.
That is true. Sometimes you just do it for fun. Other times you do it for work.
Yep. Hack.
Mic drop. What's another? I know we went harder than that.
Yeah. We got
a couple more.
Mulching. So I like to use cardboard as kind of a mulch layer, really, just to kind of retain that water, moisture retention in the medium there. And some people use various mulches, whether it be barley straw. I mean, you can even get to inorganic mulches, like some people think about even rubber at playgrounds. That's considered a mulch. Stones can be used as a mulch. Like I already said, straw, and then what am I thinking? Wood chips as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But the cardboard one is really the one that I kind of wanted to highlight because that's what I do. And
super easy.
Yeah.
How much stuff are you get some pizza?
How many Amazon boxes do you get You
Well,
know,
even a pizza, the top of a pizza box that hasn't been touched
Pizza
with much
box.
food, or either side of it. Look at all that real estate of space you can cut perfectly into your
Yep.
plant to cut and fit on there. You know,
I would use Amazon boxes and then
course you'd
trace
use
the
Amazon
trace the
boxes.
pot around and then cut it to size and then slice it in half and then I'd have two halves and sometimes they even cut out a portion in the middle for the stalk.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So you're fit in perfectly within that grow pot and it helps somebody like me who's in a very dry
a good
environment.
barrier.
I mean, I'm 20 to 30% RH at all
God,
times.
that's insane.
You know
That's
what
why
I mean?
we're always so dry. I have
And even
so
the
much
winter is
chapstick
lower than
to
that in the
do.
teens. I think the lowest I ever saw was like 13.
You never dealt with any pests by you doing that, like having any sort of airflow to the top layer?
No, only beneficials. And we had a whole conversation about how some people see bugs and they think it's a pest. It's actually beneficial. So lots of beneficials. It really helps create a beneficial environment down there.
Oh yeah, good one, man. That's a good one. I think we got time for let's do 2 more. Do
Let's
we
go a
have 2
few
more?
more. Yeah. Bust it out.
Bust it.
I think you really like this one, which is a sea of green.
Oh yeah, sea green.
Sea of green's
That's
a hack.
You don't want to have to wait forever for vegging to get that giant canopy.
Nope.
If you're in a state or a province that allows you to grow up to 12 plants, guess what, brother or sister? You can get you a fat canopy in no time. It's called sea green. Put a bunch of clones in, essentially in one spot, in one space. Oftentimes, automated watering or drain to waste or a flood table would be ideal. But you could essentially immediately flip these. In that first couple weeks of flowering time, like we talked about in a prior episode, is essentially the veg time that you get. Your plants are going to be maybe a foot tall, and it's going to be all colas. And you can yield, if we're looking per tent or per light, not per plant, you can yield just as much, if not more, going that route than you would from a couple plants in that same space. And you could really have way more harvest per year. Way more. Like you're literally probably doubling your harvest with no veg time. You're doubling. If you do a 2-month veg, but you have a 2-month flower, and now you have no veg and just a 2-month flower, the math is mathin'. Terrence Howard could even add this one up. And I think that when you get into that point of growing and you have to have really kill your propagation side of things, like knocking out of the park with propagation. So you have clones all the time. Having one of the AC Infinity propagation tents will be helpful, but it's not going to get you through a sea of green consistently. Not if you're just flipping them, because you got to think about your space. When are you going to be taking clones? You know, if you're taking single babies in there, the perpetual grow may be a little tougher if you're flipping them into flower and you have no space to take clones from. Side branches maybe, but not likely to have them all even and uniform to go to the next run to keep it going. So it's a hack in one sense, but you got to have enough space and enough plant count to be able to do a lot of it.
Nailed it for me. That was pretty good.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Keep it moving.
If the sea of green is going to be a technique,
And the screener green should be too then.
I think the screen of green should be. I think training in general is a hack, because it's like if you just let this plant grow in its traditional form, you're going to get, it's a beautiful plant. It's going to bear its fruits, and we should be very thankful for what it has to offer to us. But it isn't going to give you the full potential of how much fruit that particular plant can bear. Some of these plants can really handle a training of any form, whether it's a sea of green, a screen of green, whether you're just training one plant for its canopy, for whatever reasons. I think training is a hack to get a lot more product than what one bean could potentially give you.
Yeah.
That includes cloning. That includes, you should take advantage of training that plant.
Well, I think the specifically the screen of green is a way that you can say I take a plant and I get a pound per plant. Kind of a hack. It really is. Because it's like, all right, I can only grow 4 plants. Watch me grow 4 plants, baby. These are going to be the biggest plants you've ever seen. You could have 4 AC Infinity 4x4s that run 2 at a time, and then the other one comes on partway through your veg. You're doing 2-month veg on each, and you're literally going to harvest every 2 months consistently by flipping it that way with big, massive, fat plants that are able to yield you as much as that, 12 little plants could too. But you have to veg for a longer period of time and be more diligent on the work you have to do versus a little bit more automation with the sea of green. But I definitely look at that as a hack too. That's one thing when I learned I got the most bud I've ever yielded off a single plant in my life was once I did the screen of green. Hands down.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
So let's do
This next one is,
I've got another one after this one.
I was
No,
going to
you
say
go
this
ahead.
one's the one to end off on. So
Oh,
go ahead.
okay. Because I think this one's underutilized, and I kind of wanted to make sure that we stated
Peeing on
it
the
because
plant?
we have talked about peeing on the plant. No, that's not what I was talking about. I'm sure you want to call it a hack and not. I've never tried it. I've heard it's a source of nitrogen. It is what it is. I'm certainly not going to deal with that smell.
No.
So, anyways, I digress. That's not what I was talking. The using your we talked about this before in another episode of you don't necessarily need these devices. Your phone is a loop. Using your phone as a jeweler's
your
loop.
phone is your,
I
your
seriously-
magnifying glass.
Seriously think that we often overlook this thing right here, and we're
I
like
already
we're looking,
forgot it. We
looking
just,
for a jeweler's loop, looking for a magnifying glass, looking for something. It's just use your phone, man. You're trying to look at your trichomes, even for pest management. If you want to try to get a good, fine look at your phone or at your plant, you don't need anything elaborate. If you could just use your phone, get in there, get a good, steady picture. I recommend a tripod if you're going to try to get in there and let the plant settle and get a good picture with the buds for the trichomes or for the pests. And just zoom in on that photo after you take it. And you'll be surprised how close and accurate you will be with the picture from your phone. So use your phone instead of a
Right.
jeweler's loop. Don't spend money. That's really what I'm.
Of course, it's going to be a newer phone. Go with the flip phone from 20 years ago.
Oh,
Well,
I thought you said an indoor phone. I was like, what?
That's got to be a newer
It
phone.
can't be
A
your
newer-
house
a good
phone.
phone.
a new-
cannot
it
be
can't
your
be
house
your-
phone. No
but yeah.
Can't be
landlines.
a landline.
No landlines for this one.
a newer phone.
Trying to take a pic.
18 megapixels are up, I'd say.
So like these iPhones can obviously do it for many generations. The Samsung, all these newer phones these
Within the
days
last
can
few
do it.
years.
Yeah, because I feel like, geez, how many years would you think? Maybe like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, you probably couldn't.
I would put it about that. I would put it about
zoom
that.
in enough in order to actually see it, get a good clear picture of it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I use the same thing ever since I was able to. I'm no longer using the microscope.
Yeah.
Don't need it. I can't.
know.
I can't put my. Here's the biggest reason is I can't put my microscope. I use a jeweler's loop.
They have
I
add-on
can't.
things you can get that make it magnify even more.
I have
too.
one of those
Yeah.
too. Yep. And I would be far more inclined to use that than using a jeweler's loop because I can't steady the jeweler's loop when I'm trying to look at the
Got that, yeah.
trichomes. I'm like it's frustrating, and of course you'll try to get the best look you can, but it's just save yourself a little time. Get yourself a cheap stand or something. Even prop it up on a tissue box on a table. You'll figure it out. Don't spend money.
Yeah,
Just
don't be
use
dumb.
your phone. Use
I
your phone.
like that. I like that. This being the last one, I do want to say if you have some other ones that maybe you have stories of using these hacks or you have some other hacks, let us know below in the comment section because there's more we have on the list, and we are definitely going to do another part 2.
Part 2.
Another
yes.
part 2.
Were we
Yes.
finishing off on another one, or did I
We
catch
He's
got
got
one
this.
more. We got
One
one
more.
more.
Hit it.
Actually, this
Yep.
one was thrown out by Rob. So I'll let you get into detail on this one. Mycorrhizal fungi.
Ooh, man. This was the secret sauce when I was growing with bottle nutrients. I had buddies who were absolutely crushing it. They were doing organic growing, and they were like, well, man, all it is about the microbes, dude. You just got to be able to get the myco going, dude. So it's just great. The biosphere. I'm like, oh, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Till I stumbled on a product called Mycos and Azos, which at the time, that was my go-to banger. And I put that into my mix, and night and day difference between how quickly I had roots from cloning, transplanting, growing the plant in general, being able to basically have your food be eaten better. Like this is a steroid. This is a straight up hack. Like using nature to make it work for you is the craziest thing I've ever discovered when it comes to like the missing element is adding microbes and beneficial bacteria too.
And it's in Stash Blend.
It is. And that's a huge reason it's in Stash Blend.
And
We're not-
having all
you know.
those things in Stash Blend is a hack. You know, bringing
You darn
everything
rights
into
it
one.
is.
right?
You darn rights it is. It's all in one premium, all natural additive that you can add to your plants, along with a base nutrients. Is literally there. It is.
There we go.
It's it's literally as easy as just adding half to a full teaspoon per gallon with your feeding, and you're laughing. You're laughing. It's all in here. Beneficial bacteria.
The mycorrhizal fungi is in there that we just talked about, and silica, humic acid.
You ever have people say
215.
fungi to you?
I've heard fungi. I think it's in English.
Fungi.
I think fungi is in
I'm a
English.
fun guy.
Fungi.
Guys, great
It's
episode.
like
man.
aluminium.
Great episode. I definitely see a part 2 because I didn't get into half of what I had going on and the list, and I know So
we're gonna hear.
we want to hear what
in the
you
comments.
have
We
in
want-
regards to hacks.
We want to hear from you, sucker.
Let us hear from you.
Gardening
Well,
hacks.
while we're saying this, as you guys can see, everyone along the bottom, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you so much.
patronage.
Thank
If you would like to see your name along the bottom with everyone here, please hit up patreon.com/fromthestash. We're just saying a quick thank you to those that support us. If you want to get some behind the scenes content, if you want to see some exclusive stuff,
early releases,
and merch from stashmerch.com, all tied together, go to patreon.com/fromthestash and you will you'll get some great perks there. And I want to thank you guys for the support. We thank you for that support.
Thank you.
Wink, appreciate you, G.
Ones
Thanks
and
to Wink
twos.
1 and 2.
Sometimes the threes.
For the P's and ones.
We'll
Let's
see
do
you
it.
guys live for Uncensored on Thursdays, every other Thursday. And we'll also see you guys on AC Infinity's channel for the time being for Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Both times, Eastern Standard Time, right?
Yep.
Easter.
I'm in CST now, so I'm tripping out here in Canada. But with that being said, it's your boy Rob from CLtv, Mr. Grow Up, Pigeons 420. We're from the Stash. Thank you very much.
Peace.